Okay, so thanks for waiting. Let's start. Today, this is our third webinar about FineReport's tutorials. My name is Sage, the region manager of FineReport. Okay, so today, let me show our main topics are data entry reports, just like the name of this lecture. Yeah. So before we start this webinar, and I'd like to introduce one more time about FineReport, how to use FineReport, and what kind of results you can get from our official website. Actually, the first one is about the help document. This is our official help document, and we are still constructing about this FineReport help document. The other one is about the videos. We uploaded the new videos recently to our official website. This is our newest videos about FineReport version 10. And before these videos, you can also find it on our official on our YouTube channels. From here, this is our YouTube channels, and we will start our webinars via this channel in the future. If you are interested in FineReport, please subscribe it, and you can so that you can receive the notification about our following webinars. This is about our newest videos. Okay, so let's start and FineReport. The first part, I'd like to introduce FineReport deployment one more time. Last time I have talked about this, but it's not very clear. So today I will let you know step by step. Okay. So as we can see from our help document, this is our basic introduction about the FineReport, the topology of the application scenarios. FineReport is a web-based service application. It can be run in the web service containers such as Tomcat, WebLogic, and other containers. And for the developers, report developers, they can connect to the server via FineReport designers. This is FineReport designers. And for the users, I mean the report viewers, they can use the web browser to by using an URL to log in FineReport system to view the reports. Yeah, that is how it works. So for the developers, actually this webinar are mainly for the developers. So for the developers, the first step for them, they need to know how to deploy FineReport to their own server, maybe in the cloud or maybe in a local server, right? So as we can, let's go to FineReport's official website. If you click the download, and as we can see, these three parts are the designers for Windows and Mac OS. This is our mobile application. You can download the mobile application. We will also mention that in this webinar in the following time. Okay, these are about the server deployment. Actually, lots of developers or lots of clients, they have asked me how to deploy FineReport to their server. You can also find the introduction from the help document. For example, you search deploy, right? In here, you can find the document, but maybe it's more complicated than you expected. You need to install the Java runtime environment, something like that. It's a little complicated. So our developers have really the package for the server deployment have been released. These are the deployment package. It means the Java runtime environment already already embedded in the package. You don't need to install any other components to your server, and you can just need to download the package and execute the startup script to start the FineReport service. That's all the tasks you need to do for FineReport deployment. So in this way, it will be much easier to deploy. So I'm going to show you about the Linux deployment and the Windows deployment. So first of all, I'd like to let you know how to deploy FineReport to your CentOS server. For example, if you download FineReport deployment package for Linux, you will get one document like this one. And I'm using this tool to upload this package to the server. This is my CentOS server. So as we can see, let's cd to the root directory. This one app is the directory I just created. So this one is the package I just downloaded from the official website. So first of all, let's change its authority. Okay, then we can extract the document to this current directory. So we can use the tar command and extract all of the documents from the extracted document, and then we will find a lot of directories. For example, let's cd to the directories. As we can see, there are bin and the conf and web apps directories. I have introduced this directory in the first webinar. So from now, I just need to let you know how to start the FineReport service. So let's cd to the bin directory. As we can see, there are lots of scripts. For example, this one, startup.sh, is the one we are going to use. We just need to execute this one. After you execute this command, you need to wait for about 1 minute. In this case, FineReport will finish the startup. If you want to see the logs, you just need to use this command. So as we can see, this is the process about the starting service. So as we can see here, the server has been started up. So now let's check the IP address of this server. As we can see, the IP address of this server is 18.19.5. So let's move to the web border, and if we use this URL to visit the server, we will find that we have connected to the server successfully. And here, the first time it asks us to input set the admin account, and we can set any username as we want. And now we have set the admin account successfully, and we use the built-in database. If you have an external database, you can configure the external database. This database is used to save the data of FineReport platform itself. Okay, so we need to log in the system one more time. So as we can see, we have deployed FineReport to the server successfully. And there is another case you need to notice. As we can see here, this command sometimes it happens in the server because the fonts config is not correctly in your server. In this case, you need to run this command to fix it. Okay. And for the Windows, if you are using the Windows server, just like this one, for example, after you download FineReport deployment package, you will find the directory looks like this, and you just need to enter the bin directory and execute the startup bat command to start the FineReport service. From now, here, as we can see, this one is the one I'm using in this webinar. So for the Windows, because there is a GUI interface, graphic user interface, so it's easier to understand. Okay, so this is about the deployment. I'd like to mention one more thing about some other documents you need for this lecture. This, for example, the data, the reports, and the API you can get from this page, from here. If you click course template, you can download all of the API we need to use in this lecture, and even the reports. And there is another document for you. I have prepared one document for you to let you know how to use the template in this lecture. For example, this document is the one where we are going to share if you fill the questionnaire in this. If you fill the questionnaire here, and we will send you the document. We will send you this document to let you know how to use the API, the template we're sharing in this webinar. Okay, so now let's talk about the application scenario of the data entry reports in this webinar. Actually, this is not only about the technical skills in this lecture. This is a solution for the enterprises, especially during this coronavirus pandemic, because a lot of employees, they have to stay at home and working at home, cannot go to the companies. So we promote one solution. We promote a solution for the enterprises. As we can see the subtitles, your company may not need a time and attendance machine anymore, because you can do a lot of things, such as checking the attendance by using FineReport. And if you want to let know more about the solutions, you can click here to let you know more about our solutions. Let's have an overview of the reports we are going to talk in today's webinar. The first one is the working schedule. In the company, especially in summer and winter, the working time are different. So there is a report for the companies to set the working schedule for every season. Here you can define your own working time here. This is about the working schedule reports. The second one is the user management. For example, there are 4 employees in the company. If you have a new employee, you can click insert role and input another role for a new employee. Okay. If you don't have new employee, but you need to modify or change the salary or other information of your employee, you can click modify, and then as you can see, there are a lot of history data for this employee. If you want to change the current data, The old data will not be erased, will not be overwritten, so it will keep the history. In case the people check the history data, and we call it as SCD, slowly changing dimension. Even FineReport can even do that without create a lot of triggers at the database end. Okay, so next one is about the working day management. For example, maybe in most of the countries, on Saturday and Sunday are weekend, and from Monday to Friday are working days. So we provide a default calendar, default working day calendar, and in some countries there are some special holidays. For example, this day there is a holiday, and then you can modify the label of this day and then submit it to the database. If you query it one more time, you will find that this day is already holiday, has been changed to holiday. In this day, if your employees don't have the bench data, the time attendance data, they shouldn't get fined, right? So this is the use we create the working day management reports. Okay, and this one is the most important one, and it's also from mobile end. All of the data are generated automatically. The users just need to click the submit button at the mobile end to punch in or punch out. All of the labels are generated automatically. We will introduce mainly for these reports in the following time. Okay, and the next one is about the paycheck list. For example, if I select 2020 and the third month, you will see all of the employees' paycheck list. It's very useful for the financial department, because this salary, as we can see, there is a basic salary and the actual salary. It depends on how many minutes the people late in the month. So this paycheck list are generated automatically. The financial department's employees can export the paycheck list. They don't need to doing a lot of difficulty calculation to get the actual salary for every employee. You can ask FineReport doing all of the calculation automatically. The last report is the dashboard. For example, there are a lot of data have been generated in the past month, and now you need to know the overall information about the remote working schedule. In this case, for example, I selected April, and then I get all of the expenses of my company, including the salary. The total fine fee means the employee are late, right? You need to decrease their salary, and this is the summary, all of the late minutes and leave early minutes. Here are those pie charts about the late times and leave early times and normal times by employee. This is the working schedules trend for every day, and actually you can choose. Of course, you can change the chart to a line chart or other kinds of charts. This is about the map, because every employee, when they
report, when they submit their data to the server, they will submit the geographical information automatically, including the latitude and latitude. So in this case, we can create a map to display the late number and the leave early number at different areas. For example, there are 3 employees working in 3 different countries. We can see who often late and who often leave early. This is a dashboard about the punch data and expenses. Of course, you can add more if you have more dimensions data. So maybe before you think that there are only just 6 reports. Actually, there are great relationship among these 6 reports. It is very useful for the company, especially during this special period. Lots of people have to work at home.
In this document is the guide about the template, how to use templates. First of all, you need to start the FineReport service and then prepare the data API and template. This one is all of the data we are going to use in this webinar. So as I'd like to show you. This data is the one you have got from the official website, and if you didn't hear anything just now, I'd like to let you know how to download the resource about these webinars from our official website. In this page, you click the course template, and you will download the document. You will get all of the documents here. And the lecture 3DB is the database we are using in this lecture. So you need to copy this database document under web application and web root and help directory, just like shows here. I'd like to show you the one I'm using. This one, web application, web root, and help. This one is the lecture 3 database. Okay, and the second step and the next step is about the API to get the addresses. This one you can also get from the document you download from the official website. And if you don't have, don't worry, we will update all of the documents here after this webinar. And like it shows here, and under the web root directory, there is the JSP document, and I already copied to this directory. And then it's about the data connection. Before the data connection, I'd like to let you know you need to the default working directory is your local directory, and if you are using a server, you need to create here others, and then new a server. But now currently I'm using the local. I'm using the local directory. Because I already started the FineReport service. Okay, and then you need to create a data connection. How to create a data connection, and then create a data set. This one. Click the server data set. And select after the database, you need to firstly create a data connection, like it shows here. and you need to create a data connection like this one, and rename the name as remote. Please remember, use this name, and the URL is this one. If you after you select Synchronize, and you will get the default URL. You just need to modify the FRDM to lecture 3. Okay, and we cancel it. After that, you need to create a server dataset. As it highlighted here, the server dataset is used to synchronize your own user account to FineReport decision-making platform. And the SQL command is this one. It shows like this. For example, you just need to collect the server dataset and select the remote data connection and paste the SQL command here, and you will get the preview it. You will see the default user's information. Okay, and then the next step is to synchronize the data. And if you didn't synchronize the data, from here the users, there will be maybe 20 users defaultly, and if you synchronize the users, and you need to click the edit and then select the server dataset we just created. That is the user information, and then select the username, password, all of that files. Now, why we use this synchronized users, not use the default users or import from other system? Because in this lecture, the user's information are just not the username and the department name, mailbox, and phone number. We also have other information for every users, as we can see here, including the salary. Because in FineReport platform, the default information for the users not including salary. So we use our external database or dataset to synchronize the users. That is why we have to synchronize the users. Okay, and then we can move down and the directory manage. Because you have before manage the directory, you need to copy all of the reports we shared to the report list under the report list directory. This directory is we use in this webinar. And directory, you create a directory, and then you just need to add all of the template. Shows this one. That is the way to use FineReport. And there are still other configuration about the mobile platform. So let's do it now. And now I'm checking my current IP. The server's IP address is this address. So go to the management platform and click mobile platform. Click the QR code configuration. You need to paste the URL like this. This IP is the server's IP, and create a generate QR code, and then from the mobile terminal, and let's connect to my mobile application, to my mobile. Okay, here. Wait a moment. Okay, this is my iPhone, and this is the application we developed, developed by FineReport team. And if we click the report, click the icon, and then we need to configure the server first, and then we create new server, and then scan the QR code. As we can see, there is a new server just added to the mobile application. And as we can see, there are 4 users, and we can use any one of them to use to log in FineReport system. For example, we use Bob and then we input the username and password. So as we can see, there is a directory lecture 3 we just created. If we click, if we tap the directory, we can see two reports. The first one is the one we are going to introduce mainly in today's webinar. So for example, because the working off time is 6 p.m. So now the time is now the time is afternoon. It's not the working end time. So it shows leave early. For example, if now is the morning and the time is over 9 o'clock, and it will show the status is late, because here in the working schedule we have defined the working schedule. The working schedule from this day to this month is from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it shows leave early, and this is the how many minutes until to the working off time. In this condition, you shouldn't click the submit button. If you click, don't worry about that, and after your actual leave time, you can submit again to avoid it records you leave early. Okay, and then let's back to the reports. This part we merge the cells and then insert an image. You can use any kind of image as you like. This part is the text shows here. Maybe you will ask me why it shows this one, but as the template, it's just like this. The FineReport's fine username is the embedded parameter in FineReport system. So I use FineReport's username, but I also use data dictionary style to show the value. For example, the display value, the display value is this one. So it will show like the mobile phone shows dear Bob, have a great day. But the actual value is the fine username. So it's like this, and the date is a formula. It shows today. So on the mobile end, and on the mobile end, it will show the date as today, and the time is the current time. And these two cells we are using the formulas to display the value. This part is actually is a button. As we can see, we click the widget. As we can see, here is a button, but there is another event. After if we click add button to add the new event, there are two options. We need to select the first one. After the initial validation, and it must to execute the commands like this. And this is the GS code. GS code is the default. We can share it with you, and you can also find it from our help document. Why we, as we can see, the URL, and we use the GSP API. That is the one we use. That is the one we copied to the web root directory just now, and we use the GSP to get the actual addresses. And because this from FineReport default function fr location, it can get the latitude and longitude. And according to the latitude and longitude, we can get the actual address by using the API. And then we set the sales value to maybe it's here, the longitude and latitude. This one, the 4 and 22, actually means the fourth column and 23rd rows. It means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this cell. It means this cell. After the initialization, it will set this cell to the longitude and set this cell to the latitude. And then after that, as we can see in the data entry report, we set this cell to the longitude, this cell to the latitude. This table are the background table to save the data. I will introduce it more later. And then here, this is about the button to get the IP, to get the geographical information. In this way, the users cannot modify their actual address by their manually. So the address is getting by the system automatically. The direction is a label actually. For example, I'm using the SQL command to define my own rows. For example, now the label is leave early because the daily start time is 9 o'clock. The daily working end time is 80 o'clock. So currently the time is 16. So the working schedule is leave early, and we can use the label here. This one, working schedule here. Okay. So this is the schedule. Also the direction is the same. Direction means as we can see, the direction is out, because if on the morning the direction will be in, if it's on the afternoon, in the afternoon the direction will be out. That is defined by myself according to the role. Here, as we can see, when the current time between 0 to 12, then the label is in, and the other time is out. So you can also define your own rules about the label. And the period div is also in the working label. In the label, we calculate the time differences between current time and the standard working start and working end time. Then we get the value. Okay. The remark is a text area, and the users can input some information by their own. And here is to show the pension records for today, and this is the data set about today. So as we can see, when we preview the data and we set the parameter to Bob, we will see there are 3 records for today, and Bob has submitted the data by using the FineReport data entry reports. And it will show, because this is empty, because the FineReports will recognize the value automatically if by using the current username. You don't need to fill any value. And here, the you will ask me there is only one cell. How to display how to display three records? Because there are three records, right? And then we can set the expanded direction to add vertically, and the data will expand vertically. And this is also a label, and we can set the left department cell as this cell, and it means it will expand following this cell. If he expands three cells, it will does the same. So this is about the data entry report design. For the back end, I mean the table design. We will let's see, and here this is the design about the table. Employee name, and date, time, and latitude, longitude and latitude, address, direction, remark, working status. Here are the differences. I mean the abnormal period, and the update time generated automatically. Okay, this is about the table. So as the data entry attribute, we can select the dataset as remote, and then the table is punch data table. This is the name about the punch data table. So we add all of the cells, all of the files here, and then we bend the value as to the FineReport template cells. For example, the employee name is A9. This cell. The other cells are the same. You just need to set the corresponding cells, and then that's the users to submit the data. That's all about these reports. But if you develop a report like this, it's made after if you have clarify your requirements. It just needs your maybe 1 hour to develop these reports. So it's very quick. It's very quick. But besides that, there are also a lot of other settings. For example, this cell, and as we can see from the mobile terminal, and there are nothing. For example, here you cannot see the button. Where is the button? Because here we have set the conditional formatting. The row height, the row height is 0, so it doesn't show the current cell. It doesn't show the current cell here. Okay, and even this 3 cell, it doesn't show because we hide it. We set the conditional formatting, and even the label we have set other parameters. For example, if the value of this label is late, the color of the font will be red, and if the value equals to leave early, it will be another color. So that is how we see. That is what we see here is leave early, and it's an orange color, and it's the same this one. This is the working schedule, and if the value is late, and all of the foreground in current row will be red. So that is what we see here. If it's normal, the color is green. If it's leave early, it's orange. If it's late, the color of the font will be red. This is about the data entry FineReport. The data entry reports about the punch in and out reports. Do you have any questions about this report? If you don't have, let's continue. And next report is about the working day management. Okay, this one. Let's go back to the working day management directory report. As we can see, there are 12 maps, but the template looks very simple, right? But how it shows the reports like this? Because FineReports can extend the data vertically, automatically, vertically or horizontally. So it shows like this, but the template looks like this. It's such simple. And let's move to this cell and to let you know how to develop a report like this. For example, this one is a range. It's a formula. Range means 1 to 12. Okay. So and there is also another data set. Means the month name. As we can see, the month of year from 1 to 12, and the corresponding month name is this one. So we have created a data set, and then here, it shows January, February, right? So we set the this one is equals to B2. Actually, these two cells are the same value, and then you can see this is January, and we have set the display to data dictionary, and select the data source as data set. Select the math name. The actual value is month of year. The display value is month. So it shows the month name, but not the numbers. Okay, this is the title about this reports, and this part is the year, and this is also the big title. The year is a cell. Yeah, the year is a parameter, and where is the parameter's name? Because it's the drop-down box. The widget name is a year, and then we can use, for example, if I select 2020, the value here will be 2020. Okay, so it makes sense, right? Okay, and then here the week label. We define a week label manually. We create an add and select an embedded dataset. The week label here are 7 values from Sunday to Saturday. And this is the week label. Okay, can you see the screen? Here, this is the week. It's just a screen, just a string. And here, this is the month year data set here, we can preview the data. For example, we select 20, we set it as 2020. And then preview the data. Here is the month of year, and here this is month of the month. For example, it means the first week, second week of this month of the January, and this is the first week of February, like this. So here, this is the, as we can see, this is the week of month. So it shows the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the others are the same. Every month there are 5 weeks or 6 weeks. Five weeks or 6 weeks, and then we set it, we drag it here and set the expansion direction vertically, and the left permanent cell is C2. Actually, we can also set it. We set it as C2 because this is expand vertically, and there are 20 values, so it will be 20 value in the reports display like this, January to December. Okay, so it will follow the title. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It follow this title. Okay, and the DS1 dataset, let's see what it is. There are a lot of data. Okay, the label, we generated the data on the Saturday and Sunday. The default value are vacant. Other days are working day. Okay. We also know the Friday to the weekday of the week. Okay, so this cell is the day of month. So it shows 1 to 31, and then this is the label of the month. So it shows the working day or weekend day. Please focus on the parent cell is default. It means it follows this cell, and the up parent cell is this one, and the expand direction is horizontally. So it means it will expand the cell horizontally, and if we double click it, you can also see there are a lot of filters. For example, the D4, if the weekday of week equals to D4, it means if the date of this value, if the weekday of this value is Sunday, and it should be at this position, is Sunday. And the second filter is week of month equals to C5, means if this, for example, the ninth day is the second week, the week of month must equals to C5. C5 is the second week, and and the month of the year. For example, the data have to, for example, this nine value is the date in January. It shouldn't display in February, so it adds the filter month of year must equals to B2. B2 means January, right? So this is the logic about the filters. Even the label The label doesn't need to add the filters because it will follow this cell and this cell. So this is how to develop the reports. And let's see the data entry attribute from here. And we select the remote and working day. Okay. And as we can see, the year is B1, and the month of year is B2. Week of month is C5. Day of month is D5, and the label is D6. Why we click these four fields as key? Because this data we will not change anymore in the database. What the data we will change is only the label. So we didn't set the label as a key. It means if the current value in the cells about the combination of these four fields will be unique. There is only one row, one unique row of the combination of these four fields. And if the label has been changed, it will update the value of the label based on these four keys. So we also enable this parameter, this attribute. So if it means if the label not changed, it will not query all of the data in the database. It will save a lot of time and improve the data entry efficiency. And so if we save it, then we refresh this data set. Okay. For example, this day is not working day. It's holiday. We should set the label as holiday. And then we submit it. We query it again. As we can see, it will be holiday. So on this day, if your employee have the punch in and out data, it doesn't work. It is not the valid value because today is holiday. All of the people don't work, so you don't need to calculate the salary on this day. That is why we create this working day management reports. So during the introduction, we have mentioned the parent cell and cell extension and how to update data and what's the meaning of the child cell and the parent cell. So if you are still cannot understand, I think the best way is exploring the reports based on the existing reports I shared. Okay, so the next one is about employee management. As we can see here, the user management reports. If you click modify, there are a lot of history records for these people. So you can see from this day to this day, the salary is 30,000. From the February to April, the salary is 35,000. So it means if we change the salary of these people, we have to keep the history data about these people. The professional words is SCD, slowly changing dimension. It means the data if we update the data, we keep the history data. If we want to see the history data, we also have the choice. So, for example, if the current salary of these people is 45,000, if he wants to search or query his salary in January, if you erase the data in January, he will not find the history data. So we use a way to keep the history data, and there is another point we have to focus on: how to clarify the data, the history data. We have two more fields, two records: the valid date or the valid period. For example, from January, first day of January to first day of February. During this period, the salary is 30,000, and this value is equals to this value, and the validate to is validated to from, and this validate to is validated to this validate from. So it's like a chain, and it's like a chain, and to let you know, there are lots of nodes in the tree in the chain to let you know the valid date of the data. For example, the newest records of valid date valid two is a very future date. And it's valid from today. Okay, if we change it to another value, submit, and then we see it. Okay, this one is the newest one just now. Now this one is the newest one. So the validate two, the time becoming the time we modify the data just now. So I will let you know how to create reports like this by using FineReport. So as you can see, the current salary is 40,000. If we refresh this page, and sorry, the salary is the current salary is 5,000. Okay, so this report is user information management. This part is used to show the history information, like this part. And here is the data entry reports for modify the current information of the employee. I will not introduce all about design. I need to mention. I only mention the how to set the data entry attribute to let you modify to let you insert a new records about the newest data, and based on the newest data, you can also update the last records. How to update the last records? This first data entry attribute is very clear and it's very easy to understand. It's just like other normal data entry reports. There is nothing special to explain. The important part is about the second part. We set the submit type as update submit, and we set the username and validate from as the keys, and validate to is not the key, because we only need to modify the validate to data. For example, here, if we add a new records, this part we don't need to modify it. We just need to update these files to the current date, to the current time. So we set the validate to as another column. These two are the keys, and the combination of these two files will keep unique in the database. So that is F7 is null. It's a formula null, so it will update the data to the current timestamp. This is the tips how to update the latest data, and based on the latest data, you can also insert a new records. This is the STD, and if you implement the similar function in the database, I think you have to write very complicated triggers in the database in the database side. Yeah, a lot of database masters, you know that, but at FineReport side, you don't need to write any triggers at the database side. You can finish that uh, by using update submit as the data entry attribute. It's very easy to set the parameter, set the attributes. This is about the STD, slowly changing dimension. These are all of the parts we have mentioned, as you may also interested in this. You may also interested in this part about this dashboard, how to create the dashboard. Let me tell you how to create it. Firstly, let's go to the database side. I need to know which one I should use. I think is this one. Okay. New query. As we can see, the punch data, PUN working day and punch data. We already collected a lot of punch data from the data entry reports. For example, the data including the name, date, and time, latitude, longitude, and specific addresses, direction, working status is normal, or leave early, or late. And there are also the calculated abnormal time differences. So based on this data, and then we create a dashboard. We create a dashboard. The performance appears like this. Okay. Firstly, this is the parameter. For example, I create a new dashboard and drag the parameter here, and then on the parameter you can drag the labels and drop down box, and you can also drag the query button. This is how to design a query dashboard in FineReport. Here I already created a new one. This is the widget name is DIM year, and this is the DIM month. And also it's bound to the data dictionary, to the DIM dataset. For example, here, if you select the year as 2020, you will get a lot of months from the database, and the year is this is the data you can define by yourself. You can also set the default value as current year. Okay, this is just I just set a range to let the users select the history data. If you don't allow them to select the history data, you can just set the current value, current year in this data set. Okay, so please remember the name of the widget. and the latest, for example, this part is the late times by employee. So as we can see, we click this pie chart. The data is late data, late data. Okay. So this SQL command is has direction as in. So the logic of the parameter of this SQL command, and I think you can exploring it. You can explore it by yourself because we have shared the template. Okay, and then this is the data about the late. For example, if we input 2020 and this one. I think it should be here. Okay, we can see in this month the value is times, and how many times the people late, and the summary is none because we already summed the data. We already summed the data as here some time period differences as abnormal period. If you didn't set the sum, you can set it sum, but I recommend the column and the reports. There are default styles in the dashboard like that. We select the map type, the type of the map as point map. Actually, there are also flow maps and combination maps. We use the point map, and the data is late area here. We need to input the to see to preview the data. For example, the fourth month in this area there are 4 times. There are 6 times, 5 or 3 and 7. So there are only 4 areas because we have 4 employees, right? So okay, and then we can see the data. Latitude is latitude, and the latitude is latitude. The area name, actually we don't have area name, so we can select anyone from the files. Now I'm selecting the years, and the series name. There are 2 options. We use the enable field name. The series is as working status. Actually, the working status, all of the working status are late. Yeah, the value is times. Times is how many times the people late. Then at style in the series we set the point style as bubble. Bubble it shows like this, but if we change it to other points, it will show another point, another map. We need to refresh it. Okay. Okay, sorry, I didn't save it. I have to save it. Okay, it has been saved. So it shows like this, but it's not transparency. It's not transparent. So we use the bubble, and also you can customize your own picture. Okay. And this is about the map. There are expenses, fine fee, and abnormal minutes. There are three extended charts. Extended charts is the KPI card. We select the title as KPI card. The data, the data is I think it is this. Sorry, I think it's this one. Uh, in this table, we use the working day management. As we can see, that's the join working day, and we only select the data where the label is working. That is why we create that's why we create this report. We will not calculate the date in non-working day. Okay, so please explore more about the SQL command logic. Uh, Maybe today, when we talk about the logic of the SQL command, we skip it. But that is why I skip it, because this is not the important part of FineReports. FineReports, what I want to let you know is FineReports support SQL command. So you have a lot of flexible choices. For example, you want to group the data and something other choices, some other options. You can select it. You can implement the logic in the SQL command. Not like other reporting tools. You have to. There are only limited choices. For example, change the format of the data and calculate the summary of the data. That kind of tool. The calculate methods are limited. So in FineReport is totally different. Users can define their own way to calculate the data. So that is the one of the advantages of FineReport. Uh, Maybe if you are not good at SQL command, you think the other tools are more convenient. But if you are the SQL master, uh, you know the SQL command is it's just a piece of cake. So uh, based on the SQL command, you can do a lot of things. This is how to develop a dashboard in FineReport. Today we have talked about three data entry reports and a dashboard. Uh, Actually, there are still other reports such like the paycheck list. There are still a lot of things you can explore. If if your company or if your employees are still working at home, you can you can use this solution. This is a basic solution for your company to manage the remote working. And to be honest, if you have your own special requirements about this solution, you can just feel free to tell us, and we can arrange our project team to develop the reports according to your requirements to let your company manage the data perfectly. That is why we develop this kind of reports and about this webinar.